Okay, hi there. It's the great and glorious, soon-to-be famous Nick Dutch again. Just doing another short piece on demonology. Before I start, obviously I've done a fair few YouTube videos so far, and the video I've done on demonology has received most of viewings. I'll just quickly run through these statistics. The demonology video has been viewed approximately 700% more than the other most popular video. Demographically, the greatest age range of people interested in demonology seem to be those either between the ages of 45 to 55 or between the ages of 25 to 34, which is secondary to that higher age group. 95% male, 8% female, and approximately 75% came in from YouTube and 13% from other web sources, which we can assume are Google. So it's quite a popular subject. Now, it'll be easier for you to understand what I'm talking about if you've gone back to my own videos and you've viewed the very first video I've done on demonology. This is like the second series I'm trying to do now. When you're going through the process of trying to create a spirit entity for the purposes of doing some form of magic or supernatural activity, you've got to plan it with great care. You've got to think about what this particular spirit's job is. So as well as creating or using a symbol which is related to the energy, thoughts, feelings, mood, personality, etc. of that particular spirit, you've also got to think about its rank. Now, hypothetically, if you were to want to do a piece of magic for the purposes of affecting a particular individual who you know out of your experiences with them is someone who respects the words of a politician, for instance, it might be worthwhile to spend time creating in your own astral environment essentially a politician spirit. You'll have to think about the way that the politician communicates, type of language that they use, type of sound bites that they use, maybe even the type of books that they've written, the way they communicate themselves with authority, the bodies that they're associated with, the various icons and symbols and symbology of the various bodies they're associated with, the clothes that they wear, the jewelry they might have, all these little things that makes up what a politician really is. Okay, you think about the age and all the rest of it, and you create that in your mind. Create, an entire cosmology about this particular being prior to sending it out. You've also got to think very carefully about the appearance. I mean, obviously, the spirits which you're creating in any form of ritual magic are essentially fictitious. We can say that they are fictitious. But you're trying to, in your meditative and prayerful state, create this character so that it can then go out and do a task. In this particular example, it's to go out and affect somebody or give them some ideas or give them some kind of direction from the point of view of a politician providing someone with a certain quantity or quality of wisdom. When you're building up the image of the spirit, it might even be worthwhile writing a story, writing a bit of basic character about the spirit, where it comes from, what it's about, what its job is. You can just make it up as you go along, but the process of building up the character of a spirit is to kind of like crystallize and focus the meanings, thoughts, feelings and associations of that particular character. You've also got to think about who you're sending this to. Is it just one particular person, or is it more than one person? Are these, if it is more than one person, are these people a part of one singular organization, in which case the spirit which you create could be sent out to the spiritual force of that organization? Or are these individual people, in which case you may have to do lots of little pieces of work to tackle each one of these people you're trying to affect? naturally it will be much easier to affect a singular individual. And it's also easier to affect these people when they're either asleep, say at 4 o'clock in the morning, local time, or during a time when you know they're weakened, let's say when they've got a cold or a virus or a flu or whatever it is. It certainly is not recommended that you do any form of poisoning or drugging or getting these people drunk so that they can become a little more receptive, because you can create spurious results that way anyway, and on top of that it's thoroughly unethical, so basically just don't do it. When you're doing this in a ritualistic setting, it can also be fun to apply different colours of lighting, different colours of candles. I mean, your ideal ritualistic setting would have the entire floor painted with blackboard or chalkboard paint, so that you can then have different coloured chalks and draw your circles on that and draw symbols which you've again either invented or stolen from various different religious and theological ideas, and then you can draw the triangle in which you then place your particular spirit entity or command it to appear there. It can be quite fun. Focus very much on the objects that these things these beings are carrying. If you refer back to different forms of sacred art, for instance, some of the various saints that are painted in the churches will be recognizable by the things that they're carrying, the things that they were killed by, or their situation. Alright. Now, when you're creating a spirit, you can use those kinds of ideas. If you go back to the Golden Dawn Tarot pack, for instance, 7 of the court cards have characters with wings, and that's because they're trying to describe these particular characters as being the archangels, 7 archangels of the 7 planets: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Anael, Samael, Satiel, and Cassiel. Okay, and they're all carrying something. One is carrying a white flower, because that is the flower of regret, the flower of death, and is therefore symbolic of the angel of death. The other one is carrying something which looks like a crescent on a stick. Alright, some people mistake that for a scythe or a sickle, but it isn't. Because scythes and sickles, if you actually look them up on the internet or you go to a shop which sells them, look very different to a crescent on a stick. So you then realise that because the crescent moon is the symbol of Gabriel, that is most likely to be a way of expressing the energies of Gabriel. So if you're creating a politician spirit, maybe he'll be seen standing at a lectern, maybe he's got an autocue in front of him, maybe he's addressing a nation, maybe he's got, certain coloured boards and logos behind him. Alright, and these are all the things which you add, because that's the way which you're communicating to your mind, into the astral energies inside your ritual environment, your circle, what it means to have that politician. Now, what it means to have that politician spirit then and there. And as usual, chant up to a certain level, and at the climax send out the spirit entity to the person you want to affect. Remember, of course, that all magic is very experimental. Alright, there's no such thing as 100% reliable or guaranteed results. But you do get situations once in a while that you realise that you've done something there and you've actually affected a situation or an individual through something of a supernatural nature. And so recreating these circumstances, which can be difficult, but just carry on working at it. It's a great laugh. What more can I say?